All we need is some locusts and, we're going to have a party. Hello, this is Carrie O'Donnell, Tarot Soul Writer. And if you would like a personal reading with me, please go to my website, tarotsoulwriter.com, and I'd be happy to do a reading for you. Today, I'm going to give you my May 2025 predictions. This was a hard video for me to put together. That's why it's going up here right at the last minute. I started this video on April 23rd, 2025. I felt like my meditations were all over the place, but my guides did give me an overview of where most of the energy would be in May, and that's where I decided to focus. People come together in the world. 4 quarters. How are we going to deal with the U.S.? A new sphere of influence emerges, setting boundaries. We are saying no. We don't need your security. We don't need your protection. We will not travel to your shores or emigrate to your land. We flee. You have made a grave error, a huge mistake. You are like an addiction. It is never enough. Gimme, gimme, gimme. We are calling you to account. Now, in this segment, there are a few bits of information that I want to add to my narrative. First, the 4 quarters. The people come together in the world, 4 quarters. 4 quarters was very significant. They told me it was, and I had to do further research. Now, 4 quarters could just be the north, south, east, and west, as if the whole world is coming together. That's when I found out that the G20 is going to be held in May. We're not going to be part of this meeting, but I feel like this gathering of nations from all the corners it's almost like they're throwing their original agenda out, and they may be saying, okay, we got to talk about what we're going to do about the US. Let's talk about it. This is our new agenda. So that could very well be how and why the world is gathering. The other thing that my guides pointed to was I heard Revelations. And when I looked up 4 quarters, I found Revelations 28 is where the 4 quarters is referenced. So I copied this from the King James Version of the Bible, and it says, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. I found out that Gog and Magog could be references to Palestine and Israel. They could just represent opposites. It might not have anything to do with that, but maybe it's just reference that the world is gathering. And I think in Revelations 28, it was gathering of God's children against those who are against God or with the devil, so to speak, because we're talking about the Bible. So there is this element of end times with what the guides were saying with the 4 quarters. The other thing that I saw was when the world says, we will not travel to your shores or emigrate to your land. We flee. You have made a grave error, a huge mistake. I saw that scene from Pretty Woman when Julia Roberts goes back to the store that snubbed her when she just looked like a poor woman and she wasn't good enough to shop in the store. And afterwards, when she got a little help, she went back just to stick it to him like, big mistake, huge. You lost out on all these sales. That's a metaphor. That's a metaphor, a huge mistake, because we're going to shop elsewhere. We have money. We're not riffraff. We don't need you. Who do you think you are? Big mistake. You missed out. Big mistake. Huge. So there's that image. We are not creating new jobs. Unemployment rises. A huge pyramid scheme. It is your fault. You don't have the training or the skills. You're too lazy. Credit card debt rises. How can I pay my bills? They begin student loan payments and take what you may not have to give. It is your fault. You should have prepared more for times like these. You were lazy. You spend money you didn't have. You should have been better with your money. In this segment, we see the economy in decline. May is when we really feel the pain. Unemployment rises. It's not just federal workers now. Because of the tariffs, other people are going to lose their jobs. There are going to be layoffs. Everything is coming to a halt, a pyramid scheme. The only people who are getting any kind of profit here or anything off of this are the people at the very, very top. It was a trick. It was a con, right? That's what pyramid schemes are. And the funny thing is that voice of it's your fault. That idea of, well, there are jobs, but you don't have the skills for them. You don't have the training. You don't have the education. Americans are too lazy. We have to get our jobs other places, right? So they're putting the blame on the people for being unemployed. And then when they can't pay their bills because of the unemployment, and I got this thing with student loans. The student loan thing is going to be big in May because I think everything's kicking in. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I had the sense in this reading that if things were kicking in, they were going to start garnishing wages by the end of May. And that was flipping something over the edge. So if the economy was teetering on the edge with some people as it is, this is you're doing this on top of all these people being laid off and goods becoming so expensive. This is a disaster. Okay. And they're just like, well, it's your fault. If you were better with your money, you wouldn't be in this position. You'd have savings, you'd have a cushion, you'd have a safety net. It's your fault that you didn't have money for your education and that you took out that loan. It's your fault that you didn't make enough money to pay back your loan when you should have. It's your fault. Talk about arrogance. Like that's like spitting in the face of these people who are in dire straits. The stock market rises slightly to benefit those with wealth. We are living the good life. Then the stock market comes crashing down again. Those not in the inner circle are losing generational wealth. Loyalties are in conflict. Here, we actually start to see a rift between certain groups of rich people. All right, so this is the poor people at the bottom of the pyramid scheme. So we're screwed.
Yeah.
When you get to the top of the pyramid scheme, you have the very top of the pyramid, but you also have a couple layers below, and they're doing pretty well. Okay, one could say that they're elite. They have a lot of money. Okay, there could be merchants and so forth, but they're not getting all of the profit from the alleged insider trading and so forth. They're losing business. These could be bankers and other billionaires that own retail stores and such. I had this image of a table, and they were behind the scenes in like a secret room. And they were also asking, what are we going to do about the Melon Felon? What are we going to do about him? He can't be here anymore. I guess we could call them American oligarchs. They are really angry in the month of May, and we start to see them split off from other rich people who are benefiting, who are part of the inner circle, the loyalists, the real loyalists. There is no aid. There are no goods. In some places, there are empty shelves. The elderly have become a burden to take care of. All I have worked for is lost, anger, agitation, violence. This is not fair play. You think the end justifies the means, but it is all too much, bully. Riots, rebellion begins, anger rises. Nobody is traveling, stuck at the border. Transportation problems, floods. All we need is some locusts, and, we're going to have a party. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's gotta, we're going over an edge, an economic edge in May. It's like that poem, Things Fall Apart. The center cannot hold. Here we are. This is the moment when it all breaks apart. I wanted to say something about the empty shelves. There are no goods. There is no aid. I got that thing with floods. There could be some natural disasters, maybe disasters that have already happened. So this is just an extra layer of burden because they're not getting help. They're not getting aid. There could also be more disasters related to water or flooding that is just complicating the situation. The empty shelves, I got this as sporadic. Maybe this is a little bit of good news depending on where you are. I wish I could be more specific about which areas would be the hardest hit. But I got this sort of gradually starting the beginning of May, where certain pockets of the country experience empty shelves more than other places. I feel in my gut that the West Coast may experience it before, say, the middle of the country or the East Coast. Maybe this has to do with just more people living on the West Coast, or something to do with the trade that's coming into that coast. There could be a lot of different reasons why surplus that they may already have in inventory goes faster in the West, but I feel they would experience empty shelves first. And there are little pockets. So I might be living in Chicago, and maybe there are goods I can't get, hence the empty shelves, but I can still make ends meet. But maybe if I'm living in LA, there might be a day I go into my grocery store at the end of May and there are only a few things that I can buy, like that kind of thing. And I use the example of grocery stores, but you're going to see it more, things like Walmart or retail stores, even what you can get on Amazon. Really inflated prices, longer waits to get goods, some goods that are no longer available. Think of this as an all-out boycott. Yes, China is trying to teach us a lesson. I do believe it's hurting China as well, but they're in it for the long game. They're in it for the long haul. And the world is supporting China. So I feel they're going to be jumping on the bandwagon. So it's going to feel a lot worse than I think the Republicans are really thinking it will be. And then I heard a voice It was most definitely Democratic, calming the people down. It wasn't Biden. I saw Obama for a minute, but then I felt that this could be Kamala, that this could be the voice of Kamala. And I don't know where she would say this, but this is the voice, the kinds of things that she would talk about, because everyone's getting agitated. Everyone's like, wow, let's go. Let's get him. And she says, hey, stay present, stay balanced, stay grounded. It is time to decide what and who you are devoted to. Some ideals are more important than material desires. We must come together. Unity is what will save us. We need to protect American families. Their money is being thrown away. What is really waste? We need a change in leadership, or our economy's future is unclear. So many lies. We will have so much to clean up, but we have to put the effort in. The American dream has to mean something. We need to move before it's too late. If this isn't Kamala, because I felt like it was a leadership role, it felt very female to me. If it's not Kamala, it might have something to do with the articles of impeachment that have come forth. Things are getting worse and worse. Maybe they're trying to make the case. You have to do something about this. The American dream has to mean something. What is really waste? We have to really fix this. If you don't take out this leadership, our economy for the future is really like up in the air. So this may have to do with maybe a speech on the floor, or maybe it is Kamala, but she's giving a speech to influence what goes on with impeachment or the Congress taking control and taking their power back. So stay tuned. We'll have to figure out who this is. But those words sound like they're making a case that this leadership is not good for the United States economy. The first voice I heard with the Melon Felon was a voice of the Republican Party itself, behind the scenes, not something that they would say in public. And I heard, what is the cost of victory? You are moving toward a fall, a collapse. The system is broken. Youth and inexperience has led to more mistakes and mediocrity. Trump is having on-the-job problems. There is opposition and difficulties. He is snubbed at another party or world event.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
So in this segment, I feel like they're saying, you got to do something or you're going to be in big trouble. They're coming after you now. And they're also referring to the system as broken because Elon's minions broke it. And even when we try to do something, there's nothing but mistakes and mediocrity. And we got to do something. You got to make some smart moves here. We're going to lose it all. And that's when I heard a different voice. This voice comes behind the Melon Felon. And I thought it could be the voice of the lad, or it represents a higher or invisible force that is in charge of the Melon Felon. We'll call him the shadow ruler. Whoever this force is, and it could represent more than one person, influencing the Melon Felon, this is the voice that comes up and speaks to him in this moment. It's as if all the Republicans are in the room and then this voice moves forward. You need to calm down. Find a middle ground. Mediation. We need to look for solutions. Try to bridge gaps. The key is to find that sweet spot. The people have something, but not quite enough. They eat, but they are still hungry. They have shelter, but they shiver in the cold. Ignorance and want, but not revolution. Fine-tune. Search for healing, reconciliation. Then you can accomplish anything you desire. Then the voice addresses the Republicans or the financial backers, the donors in the room. Financial backers, we need some pragmatism. Manage this guy. But he's a miser, ostentatious. The White House drips with gold. Remember, everything is buy and sell. Everybody has a price. Then I heard the voice, I will not budge. I don't care what you think. Your feelings don't matter to me. Then inside I heard him think, I am worried about money, my personal wealth. It slips through my fingers. The voice of the oligarchs. He overeats, indulges, stomach upsets, inflammation. There is reduced energy and vigor. Oh, the stench. And he is feeble. He withdraws, spends time alone. Lots of moods and emotions. A woman assists him. A listener. Keep him calm. Silence. A fall from high places. Those who work for me are not loyal. They are idiots. Hubris. Pride always leads to a fall. He is backpedaling. He does not want to lead. Betrayal. In this segment, I almost felt like the devil was in the room. And it's not the Melon Felon. It is the unseen force that is behind his regime. And it felt icky and evil. The fact that he comes in, and it's a male presence, and it was like a mob boss putting his hand on his shoulders, really getting in his space to talk to him as the oligarchs are like, oh, what's happening? We're all going to fall. And in just the way he gave instructions to find that sweet spot, like, you're doing this all wrong. You need to calm down. You need to calm down, Melon Felon. You need to find the sweet spot. You need to control the people more to find that balance between having enough, but not enough. It's horrible. It's horrible, but I feel like that's true. I think that's what they've done to us. That's where we are. And there's something about May where he goes overboard. Now, with these tariffs, and now we've moved from that sweet spot to revolution, right? Now the people are angry. Now you're at the let them eat cake part of the story. We see that he has some sort of a female handler. I don't think this is Melania, but I did get a woman around him that would listen to him and listen to him rant, calms his energy down. So I feel like the Melon Felon is having episodes where he just goes off. Like, we always knew he had them, but I think that this is more so. And the oligarchs it's weird. Like, it's almost like the Melon Felon's in the room listening, but the force is saying, you got to handle this guy, as if he's not even in the room. So I don't know if he's really understanding, if he's all there. He's just like in his head, they're all idiots and I'm the king. And it's like, you got to control this guy. Well, I don't want to. He smells. But they have to follow orders. That's when the voice changes again and addresses the Melon Felon. And in this moment, I almost felt sorry for him. And I've never felt sorry for him. And I stopped feeling sorry for him afterwards when I realized how horrible he was. But in the energy, in this moment, it was as if he was a pathetic, sad, abused, I guess, child. I guess this was the energy of that abused child in him that comes up in this interchange. And the voice of the shadow ruler says, the world sees you as a rebellious teen. We are going to transition to other options. The world unites against me. I can't move forward. And then I saw him melt down. I actually saw the Melon Felon crying. You can take the easy way out, or you can make your mark. Go where no president has gone before. Move forward with our planned outcome with Leon. He needs to work AI on social media now. Hit the road to Mar-a-Lago. They are watching me. The boss tells us to do something dishonest and unethical. I feel alone, the only one who doesn't want to do this. A cabal, a conspiracy, a planned sabotage. They are watching me, watching my every move. It is now time to build the systems for our plans. I can't leave. I'm stuck. We need to write some new rules and policies. Stay put. You cannot leave. We will help you. He's being given good advice if he wants to survive. A new opportunity is coming. This is like serious Godfather stuff, because in that moment, I guess I was picking up him being strong-armed. Like when they pretend to be your friend in the mobster movies, or they play with your head like, we're going to have to move on here. And he starts crying and he's like, I tried. And then the line, you can take the easy way out or you can make your mark. And we can interpret the easy way out in a lot of different ways. He's being threatened. And in that moment, I did kind of feel like, wow, kind of sad for him, as if I'm watching a movie and he's just really pathetic. And he knows he's being watched. He's being sent to Mar-a-Lago to keep quiet, is basically what I'm getting. And there's another voice here. I think it's one of the oligarchs or someone who does have a conscience. I don't think the Melon Felon has a conscience to know if something's dishonest or unethical. I don't think he has a line. I think he's just going to do what he needs to do. But there is someone here who says the boss tells us to do something dishonest and unethical, to go where no president has gone before. And this person could be a potential whistleblower. It's a male, and he says, I feel alone, the only one who doesn't want to do this. And it's a planned sabotage of some sort. And he feels watched, and they all feel stuck. And they all want to leave, but they can't. You can't leave. You can never leave. Basically, that's kind of what I was getting there. And then there's the voice of, he was given good advice if he wants to survive. I think that's someone who's working for the shadow ruler and just says, you did the right thing, boss. And now he's going to do what we want. And he's going to follow that advice or he won't be here. And we can interpret that in a variety of ways. He is mixed up with personal issues, romantic ties, an offer for a woman. Love is a diversion. Relationships, tools to achieve an end, love them and leave them. So at least in some of May, maybe we haven't heard much from him. I don't feel like we have heard much from him. He's kind of silent. I'm sure he's out there. He hasn't made the big news. And they said he was just off and doing silly things and hanging out with women and whatever other love diversion thing that he could be involved with. But then he comes back and he says, this is coming to completion, a goal fulfilled. Many people have received their rewards. He's still overseeing a big production, bringing people together. I like center stage. I love money. We must be thrifty and frugal for business success. I am not fully committed to anything. Yes, he likes to plunge into a project with vigor, but rarely sees it through. I'm not good with details, routines, or follow-through. That's when I saw a giant machine with the wires pulled out. And someone said, now what? This system is old-fashioned. Let's make it cutting edge. Flamboyant, arrogant, nose in the air. Clowns around a lot. I'm better at selling ideas than making something concrete. I'm leaving. Departure, foreign country, a change in position. I have new things to create. I have a new beginning, a new fortune to make. I got the date May 12th, or that week when the moon goes full. It is clear he is crazy. I need something new. Pot calling the kettle black. A flip in perspective. I want to make decisions for myself. I'm tired of the conflict. I'm tired of feeling confined. I am the master of chaos. The change for Leon comes sudden and quick. Watch X. He is doing something with his social media. He is looking for financial backers, networking. He flows like water where he can flourish again. I was very surprised by the Leon segment. I always felt that Leon would be pushed out or fired, or I'm tired of that guy. And maybe he is. I was going through it through his perspective, and there's a lot of ego there, and he's also a narcissist. So maybe his being pushed out could be interpreted by his brain as, I'm going to move on to other things. It's my choice. It could be that. But I did feel like he was moving on to something else, that there really was something in him that was like he's all over the place. He's hanging out with the girls. It could be the things that he's doing. It could be part of his addiction, the fact that he can't really focus. He says he's an idea man. He doesn't really build anything. That's what he does. I have to do ideas. So he seems to be looking for that opportunity. We know that Tesla's in the tank. He has to build up his fortune. He's looking for financial backers. And it's just like, boop, just like that. He just says, you know what, I'm going to move on. I'm tired of the conflict. This guy is a nutcase. I'm so sick of feeling confined and feeling like I have to take orders. I want to do what I want to do. And he's gone. And I did get a foreign country. So I feel like by the end of May, Leon might be out the door. And I'm getting by his own free will. The people here are going to begin to rise. We don't want to be left behind. The world is moving quickly. We want the truth, liberty. Government is no longer working for us. We want the keys to the kingdom too. We are tired of dealing with the system. They are trying to put us in captivity, servitude. That's when I saw Robin Hood. I heard it is time to steal from the rich and give to the poor. So this could be a Luigi incident, could happen, or something like that. That's very Robin Hood-like. The disparity of power has tipped the scales. I am tired of get-rich-quick schemes. Loans go unpaid. 401ks disappear. You have misused our money. This payoff you talk about is an illusion. You never have enough. The people are concerned with the spread of disease. This is not fair. We are weary, stuck. Some are still in delusion and prolong their pain and suffering. They have pessimistic attitudes. Others awaken, come out of the shadows, and move to action. Then the Melon Felon jumps the shark. He imprisons someone who knows the money secrets of his family. Urgency is here. He is changing the power structure, the world order. News comes out of the blue suddenly about financial security. Those who don't conform are no longer secure. Hysteria, panic. We are not going to be taken to a dark place to die. We are cleaning up this government mess. We choose to stay alive. So in this segment, we're really getting the voice of the American people. All of their grievances. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of the schemes. It is about money. It's about money for the people too. This is the thing that gets some of them, as they say, out of the shadows and into the streets. I've lost my 401k. I can't pay my student loan. You keep saying if I hang on that there'll be a benefit down the road. That's an illusion. I know that is a lie. I know that's a lie now. So most of the Americans have his number now. Even MAGA. They did say some were still lost in their delusions and their pain is prolonged, but the grand majority of the people, I believe in May, are in the streets. This jumping the shark situation, he's gonna go over a line. Now, he's already started arresting judges, so we saw that. But there's something else. It's like an arrest of someone, could be someone doing an investigation of him, someone that has some financial information about his family. There's somebody here that they arrest. Now, it's jumping the shark because it's going over a line that at least the people in power have amongst themselves. This is not a regular person or a person who is not unknown, like a spy or someone in the field. This is someone that everyone knows and that may have a high profile. Someone where they say, okay, now he's really gone and done it. It's like obstruction of justice, like right in your face, obstructing an investigation or something to that effect. And then there's this hit with something with financial security. I don't know what this news is. I never got that they would completely touch Social Security, but maybe there's a threat. There's some sense that in this economic downfall that they're going to make some announcement about something that affects us financially, something that gives us some sense of security. It has to be another safety net, some threat where the people who are loyal to him get it, or the people who aren't loyal don't. I don't know. There's something here that puts people in a panic. Like if you're a Democrat, we're going to investigate you. I don't know what it is, but whatever this is, it's a threat, and it just makes the people stand up even more. It's like, no. I mean, we choose to stay alive. Maybe it has something to do with government insurance, the government health insurance. I'm just not going to go off to a dark place to die if I'm sick. I choose to stay alive. I'm fighting this. So maybe it's the health insurance, but it's something that keeps us financially secure, and it's just so much. This is so much. In May, new issues with LGBTQ rights. They are erasing the past, but they don't hit their target. We stand strong, set boundaries. We speak truth to power. We connect. We rebel. We stand up for ourselves. Enough. Everybody deserves prosperity. We all need to be valued. We need to act now. There is a disclosure about a shadow ruler. Movement, change. We need to take this new knowledge and make good and right decisions. The other issue that's going to come out are LGBTQ rights. Maybe this has to do with the freedom to marry whom you choose. Maybe there are some extra burdens put on LGBTQ people, but they said they do not hit their target. They can't turn something over. And people are going to be up in the streets about that too. And it just seems like enough. Okay, the people are in the streets. I think this goes back to the impeachment thing again. So much pressure. And it's as if I'm hearing them arguing in the Senate or in the House. Like, we have to act. We have to act now. It's now. Do this. And there's some disclosure about a shadow ruler. There is some evidence of his connections with other people. We'll just put it that way. And it's as if they have the evidence and they're like saying, you got to put this out there. You got to stop this now. We need to take this information and we need to act on it for the people. Could the Congress actually take their power back? That's what this all seems to be about. The fight is there. They've crossed a line. They're coming after us now. They're going where no president has gone before. We have to stop it, or we will be no more. And they're really feeling it. The people are feeling it financially. I mean, they've had enough. But now the Congress is feeling the pressure. Around the issues of immigration and disappearing people, they still snub the court. Delays, but pressure intensifies. I didn't know. He turns a blind eye to the oppression of others. What I don't see is not connected to me. I am untouchable. The imprisonment continues. Arrest, captivity, exile, tyranny. We go after easy prey. We steal you in the night, in the darkness, and take you to the underworld. Women are sold, trafficked. We uproot and clear them away, creating space for renewal. Let's get down to bare bones. You need to resign. This is the end. No. Delays. So in this segment, I feel I'm getting the courts. In this whole next segment, I feel are about the legal issues. They have made a ruling 9-0, bring Kilmar back, and they're still snubbing their nose at the court. He's still not here. And they continue to arrest people and to send them to foreign prisons. And then there's this information about what's happening to the women. The women are being sold and being trafficked around the world. I'm getting a ring is basically what I'm getting here, allegedly. And it's like the courts are saying behind the scenes, you need to resign. Like we said, 9-0, bring this guy back and stop this activity. This is the end. And he said, no, not going to go, not going to resign. So I'm wondering if he's going to be held in contempt. And he just says, no, make me, not leaving, not going to happen. The other way I can interpret this as you need to resign, that the impeachment actually goes through. I don't even know if you can do a trial that fast, or we're really getting to that situation where they're saying, we're going to put you up in a trial, kind of what they did with Watergate and Nixon. And they say to him, look, this is what's going to go down. We're going to put you on trial and blah, blah, blah. Or you could resign for the good of the country. So maybe what we're seeing here is that kind of a deal. But he says no. Then there's more delays. They are pushing back. This cruelty will lead to your persecution, your fall. We need to put this to rest. This is part of the plan, the master design, Project 2025. We need to hold the line to get ready for the next chapter. Monarchy, hierarchy, order. We are the ruling party. You are the person in power. We give you the gifts. You give us a new beginning. Overcome this obstacle. You are our puppet. Here's your money. Now, do what we need done, or we will find another. Throw away the garbage. Bury it. There will be legal proceedings, due process, but we use social media to create fear and confusion. So the segment was about immigrants, illegal immigrants. I feel like in this segment, you have that bigger power who is working with the Melon Felon. And he's saying this whole resignation thing or impeachment trial thing or whatever's going on at this segment, you need to put this whole issue to rest. We need to focus on the master plan. This is all part of the master plan for 2025, and we need to get ready for the next chapter. And by the end of May, this idea of moving to having a stronghold and taking more absolute power is the next step. This is the next step. And they remind him, you got to hold on here. This is part of the plan. We gave you the gifts. You do what we want. And they did say something about there would be legal proceedings in due process. So maybe they have to pretend to go along with something, but they're going to stoke confusion and disinformation and propaganda and so forth to counteract any of that. So basically, I'm hearing a voice to the Melon Felon saying, stay with the plan as far as immigration. Just delay, deny, and keep doing it. And keep doing it. And unfortunately, I feel like there will be a lot of people who will still be at risk in the month of May. There is a good chance he will come home, yes. Messages of love from his family and the world come forth. A deal, cooperation. You must do what's morally right. He is in recovery, getting ready to re-enter the world. Get out of jail? Well, this depends on the money. So many lies. A society collapses. Constitutional crisis. It is all about the money. So what I'm getting here, and I had gotten it in Spilling the Tea, I do believe Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia will be returned home. I'm not really sure if he wants to come back to the United States or feels it is safe to do so. I get the sense that he might be confined in another place, but he's not out of prison. And they say he's recovering. So maybe this is their excuse. They're like, well, they let him out and he's at such and such country, or he is in Salvador, but he's being kept in a hotel, or I don't know, something. But he's recovering, he's getting ready, but we're not going to release him until we get the money. This might be more the back deal that we're getting, the corruption. But I do feel like eventually a deal will be struck, and I feel it could potentially be by the end of May. We know that the courts are having a lot of problem. So with these articles of impeachment, we have this opportunity for the Congress, the House and the Senate, to take back their power. They've given it up, but they have a chance now to take it back. So you have all of that going on. You have different factions among rich people who want to take back their power. So you got the bankers and the retail owners and all those billionaires who are fighting with those who are doing, say, alleged insider trading and so forth. Foreign oligarchs versus American oligarchs, all of that. And you have the courts, the other co-equal branch of government. And they have been giving up their power too. They seem to be, in the last segment, afraid to put their foot down. They're doing a lot of delaying. But they did say there is an official constitutional crisis. So, you can make the case we're already in it. But I feel like there's some kind of, I don't know if they actually put him on trial and impeach him and say he has to leave and he doesn't, then what do you do? Or maybe they go through all of the process of finding him officially in contempt of court, the Supreme Court, and then, balls in their court because he says no. What are you going to do? And I think that's what this segment is about. The sense that they've gone through the whole process. They found that, yes, he is snubbing his nose. He's saying out loud, I'm not going to do what you're telling me to do. What are you going to do? And this is what I got. The rule of law weakens. Organized crime has taken over. We have been betrayed. He has upset the apple cart, the balance of power. We need to actually look at this. They are split. We have our duties. Keep quiet. Quiet? What? He throws us out like garbage. We are losing our power. Delay. They isolate themselves. Let's think before we take the next step. Let's negotiate. He downgrades our authority over caution. They hide. Too timid. They do nothing. What a disaster. So I don't think that the courts are going to do anything, or they're going to delay. They'll be like, oh, we have to go in a room and think about it or something like that. And there's definitely a split. There are people in the court that say we should just follow orders, basically. Our orders or our duties are to keep quiet. And there's another whole faction of they're taking away our power. I want my power. Power is good. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is just a Republican-Democratic split. Okay, I feel like this is, you would be surprised. There could be people that we feel are never ruling in favor of progressive policies or anything like that, but they're not willing to let go of their power either. Okay, so there might be some voices in there, maybe the Amy Coney Barretts, or maybe even one other, who are saying, you know what, we need to look at what's going on here. We need to rule on this. Or again, we will be no more. So they're right here in May. The courts are also deciding, do we take our power or not? I felt that the House and the Senate might just take back their power. They might just succumb to the pressure of the people and the fact that they're not part of the in crowd when it comes to money. And they might be saying, you know what, let's get rid of this guy. But the courts disappointed me because I thought, oh, the courts, they're going to want to hold their power. But they delay and they delay and they delay. Maybe what I'm picking up here is they don't make a decision at all, or they make a decision too late, or they just look super weak. I don't know what this is, but they've created more of a disaster at the end. I don't think all is lost. I think they could still rule and get this guy, but there's something that they need to like hop on, and they're not doing it in the month of May. A surprise, a confession, a public statement. Something hidden is exposed. There is much unhappiness over this disclosure. We need to get out of here. We need to escape. What should we do? I think it's time to take a break. It's time to let go. No, it is the wrong time. So that's when I'm getting this voice again, who's really the voice of whatever this entity is that's really in control. There's some information coming out, and I feel like it looks really bad as far as corruption and who's really in charge and who's in bed with whom and who's paying off whom. It's some exposure here that's coming out, and they're going to go public. And I think the people who are unhappy are the people who are hanging with the wrong crowd, and they want to escape. Let's get out of the country. I think this is going to be really bad. And this voice comes in and says, no, this is the right time to stay. This is the wrong time to leave. I get Greenland again. Now, I did a whole thing that I kind of felt like they were going to make a military hit on Greenland, or strong arm Greenland in a more like flexing our military. But what I got here is very interesting. It's like Greenland and the North came up again. The Melon Felon gets a green light after a pause. Going north. Ah, the gold mine. The way we do this now has been downgraded. The White House makes a deal, an offer you can't refuse. This is for the greater good. If not, a cyber attack. We'll always find a new way. We'll keep coming back. We never back away. Blackmail. We have struck it rich. Materialism, greed. You need to look in the mirror. Can you live with yourself? There is more to life than money. And then I saw Princess Leia in that scene with Han Solo, where she said, if money is all that you love, then money is what you shall receive. So I got this sense that this voice was saying, no, this is not the time to run away. This is the time to double down. And oh, by the way, we kind of paused that Greenland thing, but now you should just go after the money. They're not using any kind of a military thing. It seems like a backroom strong arm. They're threatening again, like mobs. I have an offer you can't refuse. I don't know, a cyber attack. What could that be? Do we play with their grid? Do we interfere with their elections? Do we steal money? There's something here. Maybe Leon is part of this. Maybe he's not. But they seem to be laying out some threats and saying, this is not going to go away. We're going to make a deal, and that deal is going to be in my favor. So that's going to still be coming up. It's like they're not stopping. And then my guide said, the end is coming. Someone said, keep him alive and hidden. He is our life insurance. And I thought that was funny because it's almost like my guide is saying, don't worry. This is like the beginning of the end, okay? Everyone is realizing, oh my God, we're losing our power. We need to take back our power. We need to get rid of this guy. And I think they keep him alive and hidden. He is our life insurance. I had a hard time figuring out who that was. I thought maybe they mean the Melon Felon because he's not doing too well. I did get his health really bad. Just that whole scene where they were talking around him and he just didn't seem like he knew what was going on. Like it was weird. And, maybe it's like just keep him alive and keep him propped up. Weekends with Bernie, because he's the fall guy. He's the guy we control. He's the guy who's doing our work, but he's also the guy that we can blame when we're all trying to get away. So it's kind of like they convinced him to be part of a heist and they all leave the car and leave him holding the bag, like at the end with the police, and the police get him and he's like, wait, hey guys, but I thought we were all going to do this together. That kind of thing. That's the feeling I was getting. Keep him alive because he's our life insurance. But the ending is coming, they said. My final words in the meditation was Archangel Michael. And Archangel Michael came forward and he said, "It is the time for courage. It is your spirit that is strong. Don't let negativity keep you from moving forward. Stay on the path of truth." Now, those are good words for all of us, to stay with our truth, to stay with what is right, to not get caught up in our negativity during this very trying and upsetting month, to hang in there and to be brave. But I also felt like it was a note to the Congress and to the courts to do what's right, to stay on the path of truth, to put the balance of power back in place, and to clean up this mess, to have courage to do the right thing and shift this leadership. And those were the final words. May is going to be a very trying and volatile month. It is going to be a month where we all realize just how much abundance we had. It reminds me of that last scene in that film, Don't Look Up, when they're all around the table in the last scene as the asteroid was going to come to destroy the Earth. And they said something to the effect of, "We had it really good, didn't we?" And that is the feeling I'm getting, that the people are realizing, boy, I took for granted that what I wanted in the grocery store was always there, or that I could just order something off of Amazon as if by magic. It just magically came into my house. I took for granted that I had a good job. I took for granted having health insurance when I needed it. I took for granted the idea that I would have something to help me in my older age. I took for granted democracy and free speech. I took it all for granted. I took it all for granted. And maybe this is the moment where not just people wake up, but people realize that we really did have something worth fighting for. This could be a huge shift for us. And I know I'm going to get so many comments like, "Oh my God, doom and gloom," and all of that. You know what? This is the story we're living. This is what's coming up. There's only one way to get through this, and it's not going to be pretty. And apparently that's what we signed up for. So I'm telling the story, and I'm going to bear witness to the story. And I know in my heart that once we get through this period and make the right decisions, that things are going to get better. But we have to make the right decisions, and May is going to be that month where we really do have to hold him back, where everything comes to a head. And that is my reading on May 2025 predictions. As I said, there was a lot of other information, a lot of other events that I wrote down that is just too much. This video was already long enough. So I just focused on those big things, those big themes. But I will be on to do some smaller videos on the other topics and how the world, there's other things going on in the world while all of this is going on in the United States. So stay tuned for those. I'll also be meeting with Cindy for Spilling the Tea on May 14th. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with all your friends. As always, it's a pleasure reading for you. Bye-bye.